Hi, my name is James Ivino, and I'm going to be presenting the first half of my group's interview with an entrepreneur. For our interview, we spoke with Susan Halbert, an entrepreneur who started her own spa and bridal studio called Beauty Mark. Susan has been in the beauty industry for over 25 years. She trained with makeup professionals such as celebrity makeup artist Ross Burton. She's committed to ensure all her guests have the best experience possible and to inspire women to look and feel the best they can. She started her business 5 years ago and currently has a team of 11 people. So our first question was what were your initial obstacles when you started building your business, and what did you do to overcome them? So obstacles were found when attempting to acquire capital and the licensing and proper certifications to run a small business. Startup costs were mostly for equipment, displays, and wholesale products. Small business loans were used to pay for these costs. She also joined many local organizations to research as much info from other business owners. She commented that there's a lot of people out there trying to run a successful business, so she found support in groups like these, where they collaborate and brainstorm business strategies. Our next question was if she had a business partner, and if so, what did she look for in that business partner, or when looking for a business partner? And when she first opened her business, she got busy very quickly. She knew she needed help, so she extended a partnership deal to a longtime coworker. She was looking for someone that was hardworking, dependable, reliable, and most importantly, trustworthy, and someone that she's done business with before was very good to fit all of those qualities. So what would you say our next question, what would you say the top three qualities in an entrepreneur would be to become successful, and what were hers? She felt that an unstoppable determination, communication skills, and insider knowledge into the business were important qualities for entrepreneurs, and she believes that her unwavering dedication and passion for the beauty industry has helped her become successful. We felt it was important to highlight the quality of dedication, as starting your own business is often extremely difficult, with many hardships that may cause you to quit, and without determination, a new entrepreneur may quit too early before they see success. Rather than waiting until the actual signs tell them that this is not going to actually work out. Our next question was it difficult to weigh the risk versus reward of starting your own business, and what was the best way to do that? She determined that a risk versus reward by listing the pros and cons of starting her own business was how she determined this, but at the same time, she said her decision wasn't that difficult because she was so in love with the idea that it was really never a question for her, and she was going to pursue the idea no matter what. That goes back to determination being very important, but at the same time, it might have been, thankfully she is very successful right now, but it might have been better to play more into the risk versus reward and see if it was going to be a successful business. So our next question, we asked her if the industry that she's involved in has changed or evolved since she entered it, and if so, did she need to adapt to it? So she stated that her industry is completely saturated in New York County and Suffolk County. She has to change every day and get very creative with the fact that there's so many competitors. We felt it was important because a company in a highly saturated market needs to diversify their services when compared to similar companies that offer basically the same thing. And the fact that she stays diversified will attract attention to give more reason for consumers to choose her over a very similar alternative. And so our next question was, what are a couple key items needed to stay successful in a competitive market such as Long Island? And she feels that solid employees and good social media platforms are key. And with the mention of social media, we felt this echoes the previous question in ways that the industry has evolved, being that no business these days would be successful without a great internet presence. And now for the next portion, I'll hand this off to Joe.
Okay, so this first question, what piece of advice would you give someone looking to start their own business? Um, she said, research your field, ask yourself questions like, is my business recession proof? Will I be able to pay my bills? Is this something you can do every day? In terms of this, really she's advising to do a SWOT analysis. And what you'd want to do when you're starting a business is to determine your strengths, determine your weaknesses, determine opportunities, and determine threats. Really, essentially, determining, as she said, asking yourself questions like, is my business recession proof? It really falls under, that's a very vague way of saying that, you should check out the financial situation of your business to check out your outside competition. Okay, now for this question, as an entrepreneur, is it possible to rely strictly on word-of-mouth advertising, or is more marketing needed? What she says is, the younger generation checks reviews constantly, so social media advertising is crucial. And she sort of equates that as a separate function of word-of-mouth advertising, but in reality, they're both sort of one and the same. Word-of-mouth advertising is really contingent upon those reviews. They're both the same thing. So when you go on to Yelp, when you go on to any other sort of Google, you're going to check out the reviews of a business, what you're getting there is word-of-mouth advertising. So in reality, it seems that the only marketing strategy she has had is going through word-of-mouth advertising. And what's important about word-of-mouth advertising, especially as it pertains to these social media reviews, as Michael Kamens has gone over in his marketing class, is that you need to make sure that your service up front is immediate. It's impeccable service. It's something that the customer doesn't have to wait. So I mean, she's in a beauty business, but let's say in a restaurant business, I'll equate something that has had successful word of mouth advertising, business like Five Guys hamburgers, or another hamburger joint, Shake Shack. Shake Shack has had very little advertising budget. In fact, their entire success is almost branded exclusively from word of mouth. And the reason why they've been successful with word of mouth is because when you show up to their place of business, they have service that is impeccable. It's very quick, it's very timely, you get a high quality, and you get it fast. So when she indicates that, essentially word of mouth was good at first, she's saying, essentially the crake, the actual word of mouth, people gossiping, people communicating their experiences with their loved ones or friends or family. But in reality, word of mouth business is more than just conversation. It's part of the larger picture of our social media landscape. If she had gone to more traditional forms of marketing, she would have a marketing strategy. She would be advertising in papers, on the internet. She would be, targeting things on television, or in the radio. So, how large is your business? And as a successful business owner, do you have any issues with training people to your standards and talent leaving? When you're starting out as an entrepreneur, it's very difficult to staff a team. You need to make sure that everybody's all in on the business. You need to make sure that they have the same passion. Oftentimes when you're hiring people, especially if you're hiring people from outside sources, not from people but from, say, job posting boards, Indeed, Craigslist, Monster. You're bringing outsiders into a business who may not have that passion level. And she says that she only has about 12 employees, and she feels that today it's difficult to find people that want to work hard. Now, that may be true, but it may also be the fact that she's in a position, she's at a company where she requires a very high skill set and a very high talent for employees, but she can't really afford that type of employee. You're an entrepreneur; it's hard to bring in that tough talent. You're not making the money yet. You're not You're not, you're not successful yet. You're still growing. So she said she must give them details on how they want things handled and how they want to speak to customers. Um, so essentially, when 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 you have a business like this, you're telling employees, you're telling them what to do day in, day out, and essentially she has to train them. So it's something that comes tacit with being an entrepreneur, is finding people who you can trust and learning when to let go. She says good training is essential, and that is entirely true. That's why I feel it's best in an entrepreneurial venture to make sure that you are finding talent, at least at the beginnings, or at some point, who you believe who has more skills than you, somebody who has an equal passion to you, who's able to want to grow with the company. And if you don't find that person to take a little bit of the load off, to train other employees, to do the telling for you as the entrepreneur so you can focus on the vision, it'll be very difficult to transition. You'll be flowing through employees, as it seems that that's what she's saying she's encountering. She's generalizing that she feels like it's difficult to find people who want to work hard. And really, if you go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, she's having difficulty finding people who want to work hard because the business, you have to satisfy employees' needs. And right now, they're only satisfying sort of the bottom part of the employees' needs, which is probably their financial obligations. If the employees, if she could find ways of offering opportunities within the company so that they will give more, possible equity into the business, possible management roles over other employees, she might find that you'd give them purpose. You'd inject purpose into the employees' day-to-day business operations during their day-to-day responsibilities. And doing so will allow them to produce the product that she's looking for and come to work and work hard. But when people are not having those needs met, that's when business owners meet frustration and inevitably just keep bringing employees in, outside employees in, and keep getting let down. So making sure that you inject meaning into the role is important in order to get the product that she's looking for. People who want to work hard and people who believe in the vision of your entrepreneurial venture. Okay, so is it difficult to keep your business unique because of market followers who are able to mimic your success and steal market share away from you? This goes back to another question I asked, that was asked about, and essentially it ties back into doing your SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I would say that this business actually is, as we termed it actually in question, the layman sort of question to the entrepreneur, a copycat business. This is a business that she has seen this sort of business model before in the past and is attempting to innovate off of it, inject herself into the market and steal market share away from a pre-existing firm. She believes the competition is good, keeps you sharp. There will always be someone else stealing your ideas, and you must be creative and stay sharp. And that is totally correct. Innovation is the key to success in business. You can't have the same product forever. Otherwise, somebody's going to try to do it better than you and take that away. And competition is good. It keeps you sharp. Being derogatory towards competition isn't necessarily beneficial. So she has definitely experienced it, and it is something that exists in every field, regardless of whether you're a beautician, you're a car manufacturer, you're making soda, you're flipping hamburgers, you're changing tires. you're still going to be facing outside competition, threats, who want to mimic your success, who want to innovate and essentially outdo you at what you do. And as she said, it's, you must be creative and stay sharp. You must constantly